recently read a book called How Rich People Think. And in this video, I'm gonna share some of the most important takeaways I had so that I can become rich and so can you. I'm Hava Schultz, the host on this YouTube channel, a place where I provide inspiration and information on how to create a life you love every day. In this video, I'm gonna talk to you about how it relates to money. Oh, the sun is setting and it's so nice. In this video, we're gonna talk about money because even though that's a tough topic to cover sometimes, it is important because if you are just struggling for finances to make ends meet, you're not gonna be enjoying your life as much as you could. Just to be clear, and this is something that is very much made as a distinction in the book, money does not buy happiness. No matter what level you're at, you should know that because money is simply a method of exchange. It's used to trade things instead of direct trading like barter was done in the olden days. But happiness is something completely different. It's an emotional experience. So how can you compare trading to an emotion? These are two different things, but it is true that money can make things easier and can take certain stresses away related to finance. Okay, sorry, we have a situation. Okay, he really doesn't have anything to contribute to this video, so he can come back outside when we're done. This book is all about how rich people think, not about how to make money. The author distinguishes the two groups of thinking by calling one middle class and one world class. And the interesting thing was that he used world class as opposed to upper class because it's more about how you think no matter how much money is in the bank, but the way you think can lead to having a lot of money in the bank. I think that rich can be a bit of a triggering word. This is my personal opinion. I think that that just sometimes comes with a very negative connotation. So I'm probably gonna lean more into the word wealth because I think it's just a much more positive word. Whether you're talking about wealth in terms of money, knowledge, experience, it's just a really nice word. The other thing that's important to state up front, which he does in the book as well, is that these are generalities. There are going to be exceptions in every group. There are going to be middle-class thinkers who aren't all of these things across the board, and there are going to be world-class thinkers who aren't all of these things across the board. There are going to be people who don't have much money at all, who think world-class, people who have a lot of money, who think like middle-class. You know, there's always exceptions, but this is going to be about the generalities and about the things that I learned that I thought were valuable and worth taking note to bring into my own life so that I can use the law of attraction and manifestation to bring financial wealth into my life as well. With that in mind, if you do decide to pick up the book, because it is a really good read, I do want to let you know that I don't personally agree with everything in the book. Some of the points are a little bit too extreme in my opinion, and it's just depending on where you are in life and how you feel about this kind of stuff, it could be a bit triggering. So I do kind of want to put that disclaimer if you do decide to pick up the book. And it does get pretty repetitive about halfway through because it's really the same big main idea, just iterated over and over in different ways. But I only wrote these things once because I don't know if I'll reread this book. I'll probably just go back to my underlined portions because I usually read life improvement books with a pen and just reread those portions or go back to my notes. But it really had a lot of value to offer, so I want to go through how to think like a world-class thinker, some things that I'm personally going to think about. So as you see me have success in my life, you can come back to this video for some tips on your mindset to attract money into your life, and a lot more than money, by the way. One thing that's important to think about with money, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, is that it's just a method of exchange. So you need to know what your motivations for money are. There are certain things that money can solve, and there are certain things money cannot solve. Money cannot give you a beautiful relationship with a spouse. Because if someone marries you for money, you got problems. They're not marrying you for you, so you're going to be lacking that emotional intimacy of the relationship unless it happens to develop later, but that is not due to the money. So I would caution you ahead of time and understand what money can buy and what money cannot buy. And some of that I think is very logical, but if you are having any doubts or questions or want to discuss this further, of course, like anything throughout this video, you are always welcome to drop a comment and turn this into a discussion. This starts off with what I have written on the left side of the page, which is motivations. The motivations of world-class thinkers or world-class thinking is personal fulfillment, time freedom, philanthropy, and there are some more, but those are the big ones. With personal fulfillment, one for me might be my need to explore and have adventures. Money can be a tool so that I can use money to exchange for plane tickets and hotels and tours and get travel to experience and live out that fulfillment of exploration and adventure. The money didn't actually buy the fulfillment, it bought what gave me that fulfillment. So recognizing where money fits into the process. Time freedom. If you have a lot of money, depending on how much you have, you may not need to work, or you can work part-time or whenever you want. It's up to you. You have the freedom to work as much or as little as you want, to do whatever you want with your time, whether it's just spend time with your family or go on those travel adventures. You have the ability to give largely and generously. Now, I think it's important to give no matter where you are. We can all give a little bit, even $1. Give what you can now, because as I learned from Financial Peace University, which I took through Dave Ramsey, and I listened to Rachel Cruz's podcast. I'll link their stuff in the description because those are some other money-related resources I highly recommend. They always talk about the fact that money as a form of giving is a habit. So build it when you have little so that as you earn more, you can give more largely. You will most likely always come up with more things that you want, so make giving one of those desires. When you have a lot of money, you have the ability to back causes you care about more largely, whether that's animal conservation or giving to poverty or whatever it is for you. You will have more means to be able to give to those causes you really care about if you do have more money. So part of it is for yourself and part of it is for others, and both of those things are good. You are not selfish if you want money for personal fulfillment, but make sure you balance it and give generously. Also, if this wasn't clear enough, recognize that you don't want money for money itself. It actually makes no sense at all to want these little pieces of cotton linen blends that have dead presidents on them that have been touched by a million people or are super germy and gross. Like, why would you want that? You don't. Even if you think you want just money to have money, that's still probably not the case. Most likely, if you want money just to have money, it's for a sense of security so that you don't have to worry about not being able to pay your bills or what happens in an emergency situation, like all of a sudden a surgery needs to be paid for. Like, it's still not about the money itself. Money is a tool, and your motivation for money and anyone's motivation for money is for something beyond the money itself. Other things I wrote on this page is world-class thinking involves a non-linear approach to wealth building. You can make a certain amount of money working an hourly rate or a salary rate where basically you are being paid for your time, but that's very linear. The more time you work, the more you get paid. I'm not even just talking about hourly. The more time you work, the more years you work, your salary increases. This is very linear, as opposed to non-linear approaches where you are able to have passive income, make money while you sleep. That's really the main one that comes to my mind. And the other thing is it takes a team to build wealth. You can't do it on your own. You can get a certain point by yourself, just like you can get a certain point with time, but at some point you're going to need others to build that wealth with you. And everyone can benefit, by the way. It's not you and your cronies, it's all of you working together. And if you're the leader, you might get paid better, but everyone should be fairly compensated, and yeah, takes a village. On the note of making money, you make money by creating and providing value. That's why thought leaders, people who create new products or come up with new ideas, these people get paid very well because they are creating value on a large scale. The more value you provide, whether it's more impactful or whether it's a larger reach, the more value you provide, the more you can get paid. And if you provide a lot of value and you are of service to the world, why shouldn't you get a fortune for it? You're providing something and you should get something in return. And remember that you also end up giving it back. So money is cyclical because you provide a lot of value, the world provides value back to you in the form of money, and then you put the money back into the world through philanthropy or even through the economy as you pay for the things that you want in return. Money is just the in-between. It's also possible to do what you love and earn wealth doing it. This is what's so amazing about the rise of influencers, is you see people doing what they love to do and getting paid very well for it. On YouTube, you see people making videos, entertaining, just to entertain, because that is what they love to do and what they're good at doing, and the value they provide. They cheer people up, or they make people experience their emotion, and they get paid really well because they're doing an amazing job and providing a lot of value. You see people on Instagram and YouTube and any platforms, I suppose, who are traveling the world, and they're making amazing content. They're writing about their experiences and using their platforms as a blog. They're taking amazing photos and videos, and in turn, by giving that inspiration, they are receiving wealth in return, and they are loving what they're doing, and you can see that. And that's also, I think, why some haters and trolls end up leaving nasty comments, because they're a little bit jealous because they haven't yet figured out how to greatly monetize their own passions. In fact, they might not even know what they want to do, let alone believe they could get wealthy doing it. So it's absolutely important to believe that you can do what you love and get wealthy doing it in order to make this happen, because passion fuels effort. So if you don't believe that you can get wealthy doing what you love, you're going to really struggle to get wealthy doing something you don't love, because you don't have the same passion to fuel your effort. And this is where it can take a lot of courage to do something very untraditional in your career, but ultimately, if you have that passion and that drive, it's gonna fuel your effort to go above and beyond to make it happen and create that value that you give to the world, and the world will give back to you. And on that note, another belief of world-class thinking, the universe is helping you achieve your goals and dreams. For you, whether it's the universe or a God or a savior or whatever you believe in, many world-class thinkers do have some sort of spiritual side, and they believe that the world is out to support them, not that the world is out to get them. You won't hear a world-class thinker say something like, "Of course this is happening to me," because you're expecting something bad to happen to you when you say that. And if you say that, then it's a thought that's been reoccurring in your brain. So nix that kind of vocabulary until you stop having those thoughts. Look at it more as good things are gonna be happening. I believe that they're gonna happen, and then you won't be so surprised when they happen. You'll just be excited that, wow, here it is. Another quality of world-class thinking is coming from a mindset of love and abundance, not greed and hoarding. A lot of world-class thinkers have the mentality that whatever I lose or spend, I can earn it back. I think it's important to add to this point in the book, which he never really elaborated on this, but I would like to add, that does not mean that you should just go get into some crazy debt. Don't put yourself into debt with the falsehood that you can earn it back. Don't spend what you don't have, but recognize that when you do spend or lose or give what you have, that you have the ability to earn that back. And remember that there is an endless amount of money in the world. This may be hard for people to grasp, because in technicality, yes, technically it's finite, but it's just silly to think about it as a finite resource, because there is so much money in the world. You having more than you could ever even dream of is not taking away from someone else. And if you do want to still drive home the point of it being technically limited, just think about the fact that earlier we discussed how it cycles. What you get in, you're going to put back out there in the form of generosity or the economy. So recognize that what you get will still be put back in, so that money can be reused over and over and over. And I think that's so important to remember, because world-class thinking comes from the view of abundance, so you're not just hoarding and greeding the money. I hope this makes sense how this all fits in, because I recognize this could be a major paradigm shift for some of you. I also want to just add something to what I said earlier, because I think it's a good point, so I don't want to not say it. Money flows from ideas, and since ideas are limitless, money is limitless. So this builds onto the idea that money comes from value, which value ultimately originates in ideas and thinking. So creative thinking is one of the best assets that you can have and work at. And then it adds to the idea of abundance, because your brain is absolutely amazing, and everyone's brain is unique, and we all have great ideas, and they can be expressed in different ways, and we all have different talents. And ultimately, those are infinite, and so is money. And again, if you have trouble with the fact that money is technically finite, even though I think it would be hard for us to grasp how much money is out there, remember that because money is recycled, it really is limitless. Something that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, because I wanted to say it right up front, because it's important to make the distinction between money and happiness. that I want to just acknowledge is I want to read something that I wrote from the book here just to drive this point home. Money makes life easier, more comfortable, and less stressful. Plus, it opens up unique opportunities. It does not, however, make people happy. Money is a tool of exchange. Happiness is an emotional experience. So just reminding you of that. It is important to have the belief, like we mentioned earlier, that it is possible to do what you love and get wealthy doing it, because passion fuels effort. That can be easy maybe for some if they have dreams that align with what society touts as being good, but difficult for others because especially when you have big dreams and non-traditional dreams, you have got to ignore naysayers and be boldly optimistic and truly in your heart of hearts believe that anything is possible. Remember this formula: self-confidence plus perseverance equals ambition. This leads to taking action, which leads to getting results. And do this over and over and over again. That's where you've got to have perseverance, ignore the naysayers and the critics, and be boldly optimistic. Something that I didn't say, but I do want to clear up, is the fact that this is specifically about self-made millionaires. Before you go, I want to make 2 requests and give 1 invitation. My 2 requests are: 1, for making it this far, please go ahead and hit that like button, and thank you for watching this far. Thumbs up to you, you made it. And then the other thing I want to ask you to do is go ahead and subscribe and turn on notifications, because if you stuck with me this far, you're gonna want to know when the other videos come out. My invitation is that if you enjoyed this kind of lifestyle content that I have here on YouTube, go ahead and follow me on Instagram for daily inspiration on stories. Thanks again, Steve Siebold, for writing this book and sharing his experience in interviewing hundreds or maybe even thousands of people who are very wealthy and getting their opinions and having his own personal experience on the journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.